It's time to take the boys to dim sum. Hello and welcome. Welcome to Input English. Today we join Kathy and Robert in closed session talking about what they're going to do this weekend. That is, the boys are downstairs and they're just having a quiet conversation about their plans for the weekend. Kathy recommended that they go to dim sum at a nice Chinese restaurant downtown. One of her colleagues at work had waxed poetic about this restaurant and said that it has the best dim sum in the area. She thought that would be a great idea, so she proposed it to Robert. Robert was in. Sounded great to him. So on Saturday morning, Kathy fixed a light breakfast for everyone and explained to the boys that they would be going to brunch. The expression on Bobby's face let her know that he didn't follow this word, brunch. She explained that brunch is breakfast and lunch in combination. The words were glued together to mean a meal between breakfast and lunch, perhaps having characteristics of each. She told the boys that this was a portmanteau word and that there were lots of words like that in English where two words were combined to make a new word with a meaning that combines both of the words. The boys didn't dwell upon the explanation. They just accepted that brunch was going to be kind of a combination of breakfast and lunch. That's fine with them. So after breakfast, they busied themselves in the yard, entertaining Oscar, throwing the ball, and just having a great time. In the late morning, they were summoned to get cleaned up. It was time to go to brunch. They loaded into their car and went downtown. When they got to the restaurant, the boys noticed that it was a Chinese restaurant. They had had Chinese food in the past, but usually for dinner, and it was usually takeout. So they weren't really sure what this was going to be like. When they got inside, they were greeted by the hostess, and they were seated at a table for 4. The hostess addressed Kathy and Robert, asking, had they ever been to this restaurant? Kathy responded, no. And then she explained that one of her colleagues at work had recommended this restaurant as being very good for dim sum. She then introduced the two boys, this is Robert and Craig, and they have never had dim sum, so that's why we're here today. The hostess said, well, boys, you're in for a treat. You're here at exactly the right time because dim sum is typically served this time of day. Do you see that cart over there? She pointed to a cart. That's the cart that will bring the food to your table. The food will come in little boxes, and each box will have 4 servings for each of you. You may eat with chopsticks if you like, or you may have a fork, and if you need to, you can use your fingers. We serve to the plate, and then you eat off your own plate. She turned again to the parents and asked, do you have any particular dishes in mind for their first dim sum? Kathy said, no, we don't really know much about this, and guidance would be greatly appreciated. The hostess said, with your permission, I can instruct the servers to bring an assortment so that everyone can enjoy this meal. Kathy nodded in the affirmative, and the hostess continued. She said, we can start with shumai. Everyone loves those little dumplings. They're delicious. And then something interesting, we should send you some shrimp toast. She went on to explain that shrimp toast is not really a traditional Chinese dish per se. The food in this restaurant is heavily influenced by Cantonese cuisine. Shrimp toast comes from Hong Kong. Our owners are originally from Hong Kong. Now, Hong Kong combines influences from Chinese cuisine and Cantonese cuisine, but also British influence. The British brought bread and toast. So the chefs in Hong Kong learned to apply the shrimp paste to bread and deep fry it. Thus, shrimp toast was born. Everyone loves shrimp toast. It's been part of dim sum in Hong Kong for so many years, it's now considered traditional. It's really a fusion dish. She went on to say that after the shrimp toast, they will bring taro dumplings, which are deep fried. She explained to the boys that they're larger, so the server will cut them in half with scissors, so they'll be easier to eat. She said, then we should have a special dish. And I won't tell you about that at this time. After that, we can round out the meal with a sesame ball. The parents were satisfied. The boys were interested. So dim sum began. The shumai arrived quickly. This was followed by the shrimp toast, which was enjoyed by everyone. With the arrival of the taro dumpling, the boys were surprised to see scissors used at the dinner table. That seemed unusual, but it worked. It was time for the mystery dish. When it arrived, the lid was removed, and everyone gazed in to see what was in this mystery dish. It was Craig who said, "It looks like chicken feet to me." The server said, "It is chicken feet." The boys were surprised, but still quite interested. How is this going to unfold? The pieces were served to the plates, and it was Craig that picked up his serving and shook it, causing the digits to wobble in the air. He got a stern look from his mother, who said, "Craig." He stopped and put it down. After a brief demonstration from Robert, the boys were able to enjoy eating the chicken feet, navigating around the bones, of course. When they had finished their chicken feet, they indeed rounded out the meal with the sesame balls, which were delicious. After they finished all the courses, they were all quite satisfied. There was no need for additional food. They paid their bill and made their way to the car. On the way home, it was Kathy who asked the boys whether they had enjoyed their first taste of dim sum. Both boys nodded in the affirmative. It was Craig who said, "That was really good. It was almost as good as pizza." Kathy and Robert smiled because that was high praise from an 11-year-old. That's the end of this episode. I hope you enjoyed it. I invite comments below, and I invite you to join us in future videos. See you soon.